Here's a question you may never have asked yourself. Is it possible to get a Minisport 7.9 caliper onto an MG Metro hub, all to fit inside a 10-inch Revolution Minator wheel? The question might be asked by madmen or owners of classic minis who are using Metro hubs, or people building sports cars with 10-inch wheels and have suddenly found that they've got a packaging issue. The Metro discs are 212 mils. I've got to take them down to 200.66 mils to give me a 7.9 inch rotor, which will fit the Minisport calipers. For those of you who love the sound of an interrupted cut, try this. As it hits the vanes. The carbide's got to be loving this. The Minisport caliper itself has the same lug spacing as the MG Metro hub, so that part of the fit up is straightforward. And allegedly, or at least according to Minisport, if you're using a standard mini hub, it all fits inside a 10-inch wheel with a 7.9 inch disc or a 7.9 inch rotor. So good news so far. The other question is, will a caliper fit in axially, even if it fits in radially? And I think the answer is no, it won't, without putting in a packer in this space here to move the rotor inwards by, I would guess, about 2 or 3 millimeters. You can see by this rotor that's removed, it's relatively easy to make a spacer up to sit on top of that and pack that space, move the rotor in that direction, and get the proper axial fit for the caliper. .7.5 millimeter drill. Putting a packer in shifts the disc in this direction, but it's not all roses then either, because it falls on this part of the Metro hub. So this part has to be cut off. By the time we're finished, it should be centered, but we're down to playing with 0.5 millimeters. Currently, I've got 7.5 millimeter drills in there, acting as packers, and I think I can go to 8. Right, hacking away has removed enough metal that this spins freely. So I'll clean this up and bolt it to 7.5 mils and see what it looks like. That's 7.5 mils packing. That's not a tight fit. The problem is that the disc has got a chamfer there, which means that any packer of greater than about 3 mils, and these are 6.5, doesn't register and can move sideways, which means that the rotor can be thrown out. So any packer I make has to be able to take up that chamfer, which is quite a tricky piece of machining. Alternatively, I can not worry about it, or I can shim it out to fill that gap. However, I've got to make a spacer, so I shall try to make it properly. I have 2 pipe blanking discs made of cast iron that might do the trick as the source material for the packers. Alright, here's the finished spacer. I've saved you the misery of watching my amateurish machining. It has a bevel on one side to fit into the rotor. It's about 6 and 6.25 millimeters thick. That may be just a half mil shy of what's needed, but I can put shims under here to get the exact distance I need to get the disc positioned against the calipers. It goes together thus. The tight fit on the drive, bolts through there, and now I have the distance needed to get the correct placement of the disc. There's no play in the left and right directions, and hopefully I've machined the faces flat, so I've got no run out in that direction either. Right, let's bolt it up and see what the result is. Alright, here's everything assembled. The cut down disc or rotor, the Minisport calipers, the hub, drive flange and the spacer. My feeler gauge tells me that it's reasonably centralized within the caliper, so I don't need any shim washers underneath the spacer. So I would, all in all, call this quite a successful job. Hopefully there's no play or no run out in the disc, but I'll only really know that from measuring it. Now let's fit it all inside a 10-inch wheel to prove the point. And there the brake calipers are, picking up from their new home. Voila.